Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with some gameplay for Kewl. Definitely been loving the deck. These games are actually going to be from the first like 8 or so games that I played between the pack releasing, me making my initial videos on it, and then having to go to work for today. But we got some pretty good gameplay in, and it was all going second games. So one thing about Kewl is that it's pretty obviously insane going first. Getting to look at your opponent's hand and stack the top of their deck and then rip their extra deck makes it really easy to play around anything when you go first. However, going second, this deck is actually also still insane. I've built it in such a way that I think we're on like 17 or 18 hand traps, and that's not even including the Kewl clip, which can also be used as a turn 0 way to make synchro plays. Now here, we're going second against Odion, a deck that's notoriously difficult to go second against. However, we were not only able to use Gamma against a man with the mark, we can also now Valor the Merciless Scorpion, meaning they're not able to access Temple of the Kings. And as you can see, our opponent's not going to be ending on too much here. I did change my day one build around a little bit from what I showed in my combo guide, or guide in general that I posted the other day. I'm on the Psyframe engine now. We'll go into the deck list towards the end, but now here we are still going to have to navigate some disruption, right? Our opponent's going to have the Apophis Swamp Deity, plus whatever the face down card is. They could have a hand trap, but obviously since it's Odion, I'm a lot more worried about the Backrow. So we're going to start with normal summon Kewl Recco, and then I can chain the Kewl Synchro when they flip Apophis Swamp Deity. This will allow me to get my search off of Recco, and also I can get the spell Trap Pop here as well. We're going to tune Recco with the Ghost Spell in our hand, because we added JJ Kewl, and then we can go for Loudness War. Now the Loudness War is going to end up getting negated. We can still add the Mix, and then we get the Recco effect to pop the other face down card. This ends up forcing a Super Poly for my opponent, and they actually can't use it to fuse away my Loudness War here. They're going to have to fuse away their 2 Apophis trap cards in order to make Garura the Wings of Resonant Life. So now as we can see, the opponent no longer has really anything to threaten us with. Gonna go JJ Kewl, Tribute Loudness War, adding, not special summoning, but adding Q, because Q has to be normal summoned to get the summon from deck effect. Thankfully, we've got that normal summon thanks to the JJ Kewl, and it's actually a really good thing our opponent still has a card in hand, because we can now add off of the Rotary. You have to be able to look at your opponent's hand to add a spell or trap card off of Rotary, so it's really good, again, that our opponent has 1 card left in their hand. And as soon as we start looking at their deck, they're going to immediately concede. Even if I can't OTK them, I'm still going to be in full control of this duel moving forward. By the way there, I think I probably would just put Dominus Impulse on top. Well, I don't know. See, Apophis Swamp Deity and Dominus Impulse would both be pretty equally annoying to deal with. Actually, now that I say it, we should definitely be putting Apophis Swamp Deity on top, because then we can use Quick Synchroing in order to get rid of whatever's on field that they're trying to negate. So yeah, that top deck alone doesn't do enough to threaten me. They only have 1 card left in hand, as well as like the useless field spell and monsters. So feeling pretty good about that game and a lot of the going second games. Let's go into our next one so I can show you just how good we can perform here. Or I really should say how well we can perform. I hear you, grammar people. Anyway. So yeah, we're going to be going into another going second game. This time we're going to be up against a Blue Eyes deck. And this game will be a little bit more back and forth than the last one. A little bit more. So, open some pretty powerful hand traps here. And this is actually a pretty average looking opening hand for this deck. Yet another reason why I say it's so great going second, right? Is because of the ability to open a lot of hands like this when half your deck is hand traps. Now here you'll notice that I did not actually use the Droll Knockbird here after the Ketud for Lucius, but rather I used Effect Veiler instead. So, main reason, couple of reasons actually why I did this. One, I do want to draw more cards here. I value that a little bit more highly than stopping their searches, because I know that Dracotail doesn't search that much anyway besides Ketu and Lucius, and also, I actually really want to resolve Maxi and Fuelos here. While I do have Synchro Overtake to start my plays, if my opponent has even a single hand trap, this will get stopped right off the bat. So I'd like at least another extender or starter to help me here. What I wasn't expecting was for them to link the Lucius into Spirit with Eyes of Blue. And they're actually going to go full Blue Eyes combo here. If we look at their deck, yeah, it's quite a few cards. Not quite 60, but close to. It's because they're a Dracotail Blue Eyes hybrid deck. So at this stage, I do kind of wish I had resolved Joel, like I regret it a little bit, but actually not even really, because again, I want to have another starter or extender to play through just in case the last card in hand is Ash Blossom or another hand trap. And furthermore, Maxi and Foolish are still going to be highly useful for stopping them from setting up their full end board here anyway. So I'm actually really glad we didn't resolve Droll here. The Veiler, I think, was the right call. Not that I expected a Blue Eyes hybrid build. It ended up being the right call in the long run, and was also the right call when I made it in the short run, I think. Anyway. So here they're going to go Maiden for True Light, and then upon activating the Spirit, we're going to chain Fulos first in case they do have an Ash Blossom, then Maxi. They're going to chain the True Light summon effect to the Maxi, but that's totally fine for two reasons. One, I could still get draws if they choose to summon from the extra deck here, and the Blue Eyes itself is not threatening. And two, now they can't use True Light to set the trap card from the deck, which I was a little bit scared of, but now I'm not concerned about their end board at all. Sure enough, they are going to make a Spirit with Eyes of Blue, or rather Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. And we get to draw Clip and Ash Blossom. I could have summoned Clip and gone for a quick Synchro, but there really wasn't much a point to doing it here, because then we're going to really summon more for the extra deck anyway. Cool Toon Synchro is a ridiculously good top deck. We're going to go Overtake for Recco for Rotary. Now we can activate Rotary, reveal Clip, extra normal summon the Rotary, and now we're going to Synchro for 4 for the Track Maker. Basically just doing kind of the standard turn 1 plays here, but now we have an extra Clip on the board. And Rico, of course, gets the ability to pop the True Light, which is obviously going to be really insane. Now here I did screw up my Chain Link, because I totally forgot about the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon first effect, right? Should have remembered that. Just been a minute since I've played against this deck, so I should have put Track Maker as Chain Link 3, right? I should have gone like Chain Link 1 Rotary, Chain Link 2 Recco, Chain Link 2 Track Maker, or Chain Link 3 Track Maker. Then the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon couldn't have negated anything there. But it's not the biggest deal. I basically just don't get to look at their hand or get the spell Trap Search, but there's only one card I don't know about, and I already have Cool Toon Synchro in my hand, so it really just doesn't end up mattering here. But I could have played around and avoided it, and that would have been the optimal thing to do. Plus, just because I already have Cool Toon Synchro doesn't mean that adding another one would have been useless, because of course Cool Toon Synchro can be added twice per turn, or activated, rather, twice per turn. So True Light's going to pop their ultimate Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. It can resummon a Blue Eyes, but I don't really care about that. And Maiden of Light also gets to revive, but again, don't really care about that. They can't quick Synchro. They set Majesty with True Light, but that's not live because they just set it this turn. And we know that one of the two cards in hand is the spell card Roar, is it called? Something? The one that summons from deck. Okay, at this point we get the effects of both Track Maker and Clip. Clip's going to banish a random card from their extra deck, which is going to be an Arthelion, and then we can bounce the Blue Eyes here. JJ Cool Toon going to go for the Cool Toon Q, summoning out the Mix. Mix F going to add Recco. It was at this point that I realized that if I targeted Maiden with the Mix, then obviously they get to just summon a Blue Eyes, so I decided to do something a little bit weird and make a second Loudness War here, which I am on 2 copies. I don't think it's necessary, but it is kind of cute. If you have 2 copies out, then none of your tuners can be destroyed by battle or card effects, because they protect each other as well. It just says other tuners. It doesn't say tuners except for Loudness War. If it said Loudness War by name, they wouldn't protect each other, but they don't. It just says other, so they do. So they're basically acting as just towers monsters here. They even got 3,300 attack points thanks to the effect of my field spell, since my opponent's got a tuner in their graveyard. Gonna make Remix before going to end phase. They were also getting past priority a lot, so I was a little bit afraid of Nibiru here, but it just turned out to be a Magnum Hut, so that's definitely not as bad as I thought it would be. Gonna add Ether Barrel off Magnum Hut during the end phase. Mausoleum of White gets to activate here. They're gonna move to battle phase, try to threaten my Remix, but Remix can be activated at any point during the opponent's turn. A lot of quick effects during the opponent's turn are main phase only, but not Remix. Remix is whenever, so love to see them go to battle phase here. We're going to use Remix to make RS with Rico and Mix. That'll let me pop both of their cards on field. And of course make the RS, which is a lot bigger than the Magnum Hut is here. And on top of that, also has the ability to threaten a negate. I'm not going to negate the Ether Barrel though, because when Lordly Load is activated, I can use Loudness War to banish and copy Recco, and now I can use that effect to destroy Lordly Load as it's resolving, meaning they won't get the effect. So realizing I still have the RS negate, my opponent's going to concede right then and there. Good stuff. You'll love to see it. And we even still had that Joel and Lockbird in case they were able to kind of pop off and add a bunch of cards there. All right, there's that duel. Got one more to show you. Right, because we started with the Odion game? Yes, yep, and then this one. So yeah, I have one more to show you, and then I'll show you my updated deck list. All right, going into our last replay for this video. This time we're going second against a very interesting hybrid deck. It's like Radiant Typhoon with Fiendsmith and also Azamina, but it's mostly using Radiant Typhoon as a rank 3 engine to get into Fiendsmith with the rank 3, I think it's Mellow Melody or something, the Light Fiend Xyz rank 3 monster. They're kind of doing that with the Speedroid engine here, too. Now, we're going to make some turn 0 plays. We're going to use Clip during the opponent's turn, taking a little bit of a chance because I won't be able to use Delta with monsters on the board, but I wanted to screw up my opponent's ability to make extra deck plays. Now, granted, they have a Max C to draw to, which will almost assuredly help them out, but what we can do here is we can go Trackmaker, or rather we can go Clip and mix into Trackmaker, and this will let me Clip Extra Deck Rip, mix Pop a Monster, and then Trackmaker Search. Now, they do have a call by for the Clip. I think they use it on Clip, right? Yeah. Which I think Mix would have been the better choice, personally. Because Clip might have banished something completely irrelevant to their plays, but Trackmaker adding a cool tune Synchro, and they're going to go Tracked into Lurie, and they're going to use this to access their Fiendsmith engine anyway. But I was really surprised here. They actually went Lurie plus Terratop into Mood, which is obviously pretty unnecessary because they already had the Lurie to go into Requiem. Maybe they just didn't want the Terratop loose on the board? I don't know. To be fair, there wasn't really much I think they could do with it, but at the same time, it's like no reason to link it off. I don't know. Anyway, they're going to end up making Caesar, I think, here using the Necroquip line. Well, they're definitely using the Necroquip line. But I imagine they're just overlaying into Caesar. No, that's right! It's Ptolemy M7. I remembered at the last minute. They chose summon Ptolemy M7 instead, using the bounce effect on my Trackmaker. No, on their Engraver. I don't know what my opponent's doing. I'm making a lot of assumptions about their plays that don't end up being true. But I think if they had followed my assumptions, they might have performed a little bit better here, personally. My opinion. They're going to set forward and then pass, which we definitely don't mind seeing. Draw phase, cool tune synchro. I definitely didn't need to do this, but at the same time, it's like I need to search Hue anyway. And now we can go for a loudness war. And we do have the Trackmaker in the yard, so it can bounce being used synchro material now. And then if they use one of their face sound cards, we could potentially bounce another card with loudness war. So we're gonna go Q summon Rotary, Rotary summon another Trackmaker because we haven't used it yet this turn to search. So we're going to go Chainlink 1 Trackmaker, Chainlink 2 Rotary. Now you'll notice that for Rotary, I use the Graveyard effect, or the effect that messes with my opponent's Graveyard, because, and I pointed this out earlier, but it's very important to know for going second, my opponent had no cards in hand. In order to search a spell or trap card with Rotary, you have to look at your opponent's hand. But if they don't have a hand, you can't look at it. Therefore, you cannot search a spell or trap card. That is a pretty important distinction to make, and again, is why I use the put a card from graveyard on bottom of deck effect there. Not that it really mattered. You know, our opponent used an Imperm, but other than that, they had 3 other face down cards, one of which we know is a track that got searched. So really, they only had 2 cards that could potentially mess me up, and I felt very confident in my ability to just play right through that. So they're going to concede, and that is that. Now, let's show off the deck list. Like I said, I did update it a little bit from my initial guide video. Okay, so here is my Cool Tune list. Like I mentioned, I actually have made room for the Psyframe cards. I think the main difference, if I remember right, is that on the build I showed off in my guide video for the second wave build, I had Nibiru and a 3rd copy of Mix and Clip. And then I took those out. Oh, and Ghost Ogre. I took those out, and that's what I made room for. Psyframe Gamma, 2 Delta, and then a driver. The Deltas, I think, are very... I mean, the Psyframe engine in general is very optional, but on top of being great hand traps, they're also tuners, meaning being level 2 tuners specifically, they play well with Mix and Clip, which otherwise can only play with each other. I do kind of actually want to add a 3rd Clip for its ability to be used to make turn 0 plays. I found that very helpful, like especially if you open like Clip plus Reco. Imagine dropping like a Cool Tune RS during your opponent's turn 1, Like, especially playing against like the mirror match where you can mess with their levels, but even if you're not against Synchro or Xyz deck, you can still use an Omni Negate effect, again, during your opponent's turn 1, if you've got like Clip plus Reco. Not to mention you can extra deck Rip, and if you have good enough timing, pop a spell or trap card that might be vital to their combo line. Cool Tune just has so much potential. Like I said up top, you know, the deck plays very, very well going first. I remember reading an OCG meta report recently, I believe it was on Road of the King, that was talking about how currently it's a landslide in the OCG. Cool Tune has the highest going first win rate, which makes a ton of sense. Getting to not only look at your opponent's hand, but also stack the top cards of their deck, as well as extra deck ripping, makes for a very potent way to stop your opponent from being able to do anything at all. Now, as mentioned, this build is on a ton of hand traps. Let's see, we got 3 Veiler plus 2 Droll, that's going to be 5, plus Maxi is 6. Psyframes make 9, Ash Blossoms make 12, Ghost Spells make 14, and then Foolish makes 17. So we're on 17 hand traps, not counting the clips, which can, again, also be used for turn 0 plays. So, yeah, as mentioned, we are bordering on almost half of our deck being hand traps, which is a place you definitely want to be in a best-of-1 format. So yeah, between having such a powerful turn 1 line that gives you perfect information about what your opponent's up to, and also playing half your deck being hand traps in case you go second, I imagine Cool Tune is going to be an excellent deck here in Master Duel. The extra deck is very, very flexible. You don't need to play 3 Trackmaker, and you definitely don't need to play 2 Loudness War, but I like the idea of being able to put out 2 Loudness War, and again, kind of have them act as towers monsters. It's a little bit win more, but I think in some situations it could potentially be really good. I'm kind of thinking about adding Shooting Riser Dragon, which is a Synchro tuner, so you can make it under Cool Tune lock. It's level 7, but it can lower its level by sending a monster to the graveyard. And not only that, it's another way to Synchro summon during your opponent's turn, which ends up being a pretty valuable thing to have. So considering taking out like the 3rd Trackmaker to play Shooting Riser Dragon, or I think really it should probably be the 2nd Loudness War, but I kind of want to leave the 2nd Loudness War in for a little bit longer, just see how often it comes up here. We're on Omega because we're on the Psyframe stuff. Definitely want at least 1 copy of Zaylin for sure. Baron de Fleur is mostly used for making, I guess in some scenarios, with Omega and Zaylin, but you could also play the Excel Stardust Dragon if you wanted to. Make that off of your Psyframe driver plus tuner, and then that would be another easy way to go into the Baron de Fleur. And then Typhone here, just in case you need it. And because we have the space in the extra deck, it's just one of those cards where if you've got room in your extra deck, you should definitely be jamming it. No Fidralius Harmonia, so no need for like Herald of the Arclight. Well, we're not playing ritual stuff. I always, immediately my brain wants to associate those 2 cards, but rather Inningmaster Packbit and Golden Cloud Beast Milan. We don't need those in the extra deck yet, because the Fidralius Harmonia is not in Master Duel yet. But yeah, I think other than some extra deck ratios and tech options, and maybe some off-engine tech options like Hand Trap and or 3rd Clip, I think other than that, I'm very satisfied with this build. I think it's really good, and I think Cool Tune is definitely going to be tier 1. I think there's a really, really decent shot it's actually just the best deck in the format. I had to think about that for just a moment before I really want to commit to that, but yeah, no, I think especially with the way that all of the meta-relevant decks got hit with the ban list at the top of the month, I think that Cool Tune is likely just the best deck in the format. I definitely will make a tier list here very soon, probably just tomorrow. So stick around for that, and I'll go into a little bit more detail there. But for the time being, that's going to go ahead and do it. Thank you so much for watching, and especially all the way to the end. Always helps, always appreciated. Let's move on now to our outro so we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.